Happy Wednesday, everyone. Pam Savage here with Young at Heart Creations. We did a video live last night painting a sunflower. This is the back part of it. So we're going to finish it up. I've already painted, it's painted, and so we've already done all the painting. But we had some weather last night, and I kept getting interrupted. Had to start and stop and start and stop, so I had 3 different videos, but I think you got enough on there that you can see what it was that we're doing. But again, I'm Pam Savage with Young at Heart Creations, so I thought I would show you today. I usually don't get on here on Wednesdays. It is church day, and so I do things to prepare for that, but I kind of felt like you got cheated last night because you had to keep getting in and out, and so I just wanted to do something special for you today. So I thought I would show you. Several of you have asked me how I finish out my door hanger and get it ready to hang on the wall. It's door hanger, wall hanger, whatever you want it to be. But I have a couple of different ways that I finish them out as far as sealers, and I'll go over that with you. But I thought I would show you how when I finish it. Typically I would seal it first, but if I did that right now and showed you, then it wouldn't be dry in time for me to show you how to staple it. So I'm going to do it a little bit backwards. I'm going to staple it first and get the jute. Now you could put a ribbon hanger or whatever kind of hanger that you wanted. I'm going to use just simple jute string. You can get it at Walmart, Hobby Lobby, just so many different places. So that's what we're going to be using. And I'm using a Super Bonder heavy duty stapler. The secret to this, and thank you Tamara Bennett for giving us this idea. I do follow her on Southern Adornments Decor, and she gave us this tip a while back for keeping the staples from going through the front part of your wood. When you staple the back of it, if you're not really careful and don't put a lot of pressure on it, it will come through the front on your painted side, and you definitely don't want that after you've worked so hard on a piece. You don't want the staples coming through the front of it, and I mean you can kind of pound them back out, but then you've got a hole, and sometimes it raises the wood up, so that's not what we want. And the smallest stapler that they make is still too long for the Revolution plywood. So the secret is just to take a piece of cardboard, I hope you can see that, and just fold it over. This one is folded over twice, and so it's got actually 3 layers, 1, 2, 3 layers there, and I just cut it off of a box and then duct tape it on very securely. Just duct tape it around there, and that gives it a cushion, and the stapler can only go so far. It stops it from going through. Now you want to leave enough space. You don't want to cover up where the staple's going to come out. So you can see right here, this is where the staple would come out. And you don't want to tape it over depending on your stapler, but this is where I would load the staplers. This comes out up here, so you don't want to tape around to where you can't get your staples in. So, and I have, this will be, if it's not already, it will be sometime today on my Tip It Tuesday on my website, youngatheartcreations.com. So there's the stapler. Any industrial stapler will work. And so that, I just loved this tip. It just was a game changer for me. So thank you, Tamara Bennett. So I wanted to share it with you. We talked about it a little bit last night, so I thought I'd show you. So I'm going to bring you down and show you what you want to do. You want to first determine what's the top and what's the bottom. Depending on what you're what you're painting, sometimes it's hard to tell the top and bottom, and it really won't matter. But I like to kind of decide where my top's going to be. So on this one, the top is going to be right here. So I'm going to bring it down towards me. I want my center down towards me. Now I have taken some burnt umber paint, just Deco Art burnt umber. You could use dark chocolate, or you could paint it a light white, but I just really watered it down and just put a light coat of that watered down burnt umber on it. It gives it a little bit of a stained look, just kind of a finished look. So okay, so this is our top, and I'm going to bring it down towards me. If you're on here, say hi and let me know that you're watching. I don't typically get on here during the day. But I'm going to show you I just cut a piece of string, and you'll just need to determine how long you want it depending on what piece you're working on. So I'm going to bring the camera down so you can see what I'm doing. Let me stand up a little bit and get it raised up here. All right, let's see if you can see that. Okay. Okay, I think you can see it there. So I've just got my jute, and I'm going to tie a knot in each end, and that's so that it doesn't slip out from under the staple. But I'm also going to do something else to prevent that. So I'm just tying a simple little knot, making sure it's good and tight. If you have really thin jute, I would double knot it so that it does make the knot large enough to where it's not going to slip through. But if you do the next step here in just a minute, it won't anyway. But, okay, so I've got my I've got my knot in both ends. And I'm going to find the center. I've got my ends together here, and I'm going to find the center of my string. So here's my center, and I'm going to decide how long, how high up here do I want it. And I think that's a pretty good length right there. It's about half. So I'm going to hold that right there. And I'm going to come down just a little bit so that I can get below the cuts right here on the flower. So I don't want it to end up right here on that cut. So I'm going to come down just a little bit, and that'll still give us plenty of rope or jute to leave there. So I'm going to come over here, and I always have to stand up to get enough pressure on it. So you want to get right behind the knot. Now, if I did not have that cardboard, it would be directly on the wood, and it would most likely go through if I wasn't careful, if I put too much pressure on it. So I'm lining that rope up just below the knot. Okay, and it's got it raised just a little bit. I probably could have put a little more pressure in there, so I'm going to probably bump it down just a little bit. But I still want to make sure that I try to get them even across. The good thing about the jute is you can kind of adjust your piece on the wall once you get it on here. But I'm trying to find my center point, and then I'm going to try to get it as close as I can across from this other one. Okay, so again, just going to go right behind that knot. Put a little more pressure this time. Okay, that one went down pretty good. I'm going to get it in just a little bit deeper. Not too deep, but I'm going to hammer just a little bit. Not much, or it will go through. So I'm feeling under here, make sure. Yay. Okay, so I've got it good and tight here. My knots are keeping it from going through. Now the next thing I do to keep it from going through and to also protect the wall or the door that it's going to go on. I'm going to put my stapler up there. You can use painter's tape or duct tape, any kind of tape you want to, and just tape over it to kind of help keep it in place. And to keep it from the staples from scratching either your wall or your door, wherever you're going to put it. What I do, and I think somebody on Facebook, one of our groups, used this idea. I've done it before, and I really like it, but I just use hot glue gun. And I just put some right over that staple. I put quite a bit so it will cover that staple. Let's go over this one here. Okay, and I let it dry for just a minute. I kind of let it settle down for just a minute or so. And then I go back over it again, just to make sure I've got it over that staple really well. This also secures the rope or jute, whatever you're using, and make sure that you've got good coverage on that jute. Now we'll let that dry for just a minute. doesn't take it long. Now it does if you're doing a live and you're going hurry, hurry. Sometimes I'll take my cool hair dryer to it and get it going if I'm really needing to hurry with it. That will speed it up, but I don't really want to do that right now while I've got you on live. Well, let's see. Let's go ahead. I take that back. Let's go ahead and see if I can kind of speed it up just a little bit. I'm going to pull it away a minute. Okay, now it's still a little bit sticky, and I need to let it dry a few minutes before we go on to the next step. Get those little strings off of there. And so once it does dry, I do go through and just kind of make sure that the staple is covered. So we'll go ahead and let that dry for just a minute, and your glue is going to start turning a little bit white once you do that. While we're waiting on that, let me go ahead. If you did miss last night, hi Wendy. We'll let that dry just a second, and then we'll do the next step on it. And there's a couple different ways you can do it, and I'll show you the way I'm going to do it today. But if you missed last night's live, and thank you so much for those of you that bared with me and stayed on it with me and came on the second and third time with me, but by the time the last one was finished, our internet was completely down. I kept breaking up and people couldn't hear what I was saying, or so I had to get out and come back in, but and then our internet just went out completely, and we had some storms moving in, and I think that's probably what was causing it. But I think we did get through it, and I did get to show you all of the techniques that we were doing on the flower. But I also made a very big announcement that I am planning a Young at Heart Creations painting event. I was trying to come up with a name, and that's what it's going to be. Young at Heart Creations painting event. I'm going to offer it to you guys that follow on my Facebook page, my business Facebook page, and to some Painters Clubhouse sisters that I have with Southern Adornments Decor. They have a group that I'm in, and so I'm going to offer it to you guys first. It will be limited seating, so it'll be first come, first serve. It's August the 28th. That's on a Saturday. So please mark your calendars. We're working on details as we speak. I'm expecting a couple of phone calls back as far as securing the location that we're going to have it. It will be in Sherman, Texas, and that's about 50 miles north of Dallas. So if you're local and close enough that you can just drive that day, you won't need a hotel room. Hi, Pam. You won't need to get a hotel room. Oh, nice name, by the way, Pam. But if you do need a hotel to stay that Friday night and be there for Saturday, or stay Saturday and you need a hotel for that night, we do have plenty of hotels around in Sherman within just 5 minutes of each other, if that far. So we will, have that. You would be in charge of getting, you would be responsible for getting your hotel room if that's, if you do need a hotel room. It will be at least a 9-hour event, possibly more. So I'm still working out the details. We'll have door prizes. We'll have some projects that you'll be painting. I will have a booth or display set up with, I'm going to try to get busy and get a lot of blank wood cut out, a lot of blanks for you that you can take home and paint. So I'm going to try to have things like that, and possibly some things that I've already painted for you to purchase. So we'll have that. We'll have a challenge for you, and you'll get to meet so many people that you've talked to on Facebook that you see and converse that way, but you haven't met in person. So I just thought it would be fun. It's going to be a lot of work on my end, but it's worth it to me to get to meet you guys face to face, and for y'all to get to meet each other. I mean, it's so much fun, so encouraging and strengthening to be with a group of like-minded people that do the same thing you do, that understand what you do. So if you're a first-time painter, if you've never painted, or if you're a seasoned painter, it doesn't matter. Everybody is invited and welcome that's on this platform, and then on the Painters Clubhouse Sisters platform, if you're close enough to come. I will do that first. I don't know the exact cost yet. I'm doing my very, very best to keep it way under $200. So I will know more about that when I know which venue I'm going to pick. So I'm going to try to keep it around $130, you know, or less if I can. But just wanted you to kind of put that in your mind, put it on your calendar for sure. I would love to meet you. We may have a photo booth. I don't know. I've got so many ideas going on in my head. You guys know that I'm not a technical person, so there won't be a lot of technical things, you know, going on. It's just going to be a relaxed, fun time just to get together and paint, maybe learn some things that you haven't learned before, or put them to use there. So I think it's going to be a very fun day, and I'm very excited about it. Okay, so I think that I would probably, if I wasn't doing this live, I would wait a few more minutes on this, but I think it's dry enough that I can go ahead and do what we're going to do. Okay, so I have two different sealers that I use. I didn't bring the spray one up here, I'm sorry, but it is in my Tip It Tuesday link on my website. And it's a spray. It's an acrylic spray, polyurethane spray, and it is water-based. That's something you want to make sure that you do when you're sealing, when you get a spray sealer or even a brush-on sealer. Make sure that it's water-based. If it is not water-based, and you have a light colored piece, it will turn yellow. I do a lot of little girls things, and I learned the hard way that if it's not water-based, you get it all painted, and in a day or two you look at it and you go, what happened? And it's all yellow. So just make sure that it's water-based, and that will help you with that. Let me grab a drink. Okay, so what I use, especially if I know it's not going to be outdoors for a long time, and this may work great outdoors, I don't know, I haven't tested it as far as being outdoors. I've got some things that I've put out there, and so far they're doing great, not having any trouble with it. Hi, CJ. You'll have to go back and kind of listen to the beginning of it, but thought I would show you how to finish out the flower that we did last night. Showed you how to hang it, how to do your staple gun, or your stapler so that it doesn't go through the front of the wood, and then what I do after that to keep it from scratching your door or your wall. So you'll have to go back and watch the replay if you missed the first part of it. But thanks so much for hopping on. I'm not usually on here in the daytime. I'm gonna try to start hopping on a little more often. When I find something or I see, oh, that works great or whatever, I'm gonna try to hop on here and help you. Okay, so this is Mod Podge. I know it's backwards for you. I get mine at Walmart. That's the cheapest place I've found to get it. I was getting the smaller bottles that have the smaller mouth, smaller opening, but the brush I like to use on my big projects would not fit down in it without the brushes touching on each end, and it was just kind of messing up my, you know, bristles. So I've started getting the large one, and if they run a sale on the smaller ones or something, I just get those and pour it in the larger one, and it seems to work fine. So, and the lid does get real tight sometimes after you've closed it, because it does kind of get on the lid. I just take a knife and I just whack it around. Real sophisticated here. Okay, so let me open that up. Now, if you've never used Mod Podge before, it would scare you in the beginning, because when you open it, it looks like milk. Looks like milk or thick paste, and it is a type of glue, I guess you would call it, but it's just solid white, and you think, I can't put that over my piece that I just spent hours, you know, painting, and but I promise you it will look so much better. This one behind me was totally covered in it. Everything I do, I usually put a coat of this on it, unless I know that it's going to be outside in the really, really direct weather. I would probably go with the polyurethane. Hi, Shirley. Okay, so I'm going to bring you down so you can see what I'm doing with this. And we'll do, well, I take that back. I'm going to go ahead and glue it first. I'm going to glue our centerpiece down because it'll be wet and I won't be able to glue it on there. So I got a little backwards there. So the centerpiece that we did last night is just a 12-inch circle. Just the Revolution plywood. We've done the edges, got those all done, and so we decided to do a 3D. And then we've got something else to put in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to glue it down. I use the E6000 glue. You can get this at Walmart, anywhere. But it's gonna hold anything. I discovered it when I was doing the terracotta pots. I was painting those and trying to get the tray to sit on top, the saucer to sit on top, and I tried every kind of glue I could think of. This is the only thing that worked, and boy did it work. So you want to be careful not get it on your fingers. Now it does take it a little while to dry, so you want to get your piece just right and then walk away and leave it until the next day. I mean, it'll put it in place, but you want to let it sit at least 24 hours. The other glue that you can use, Tamara Bennett made us aware of this the other day, and I just tried it for the first time on my mailbox because my numbers had come off. It is, now this sticks really fast, so you want to make sure your piece is where you want it before you put it down. And if you get it on your fingers, it does take a little while to get it off. I used some fingernail polish remover and kind of softened it up a little bit, but it still took 2 or 3 days. Don't put your fingers together or you're stuck. You're stuck there for a while. You won't be able to paint for a while. Okay, so this one is called, it's Stick Fast is the name of it. Stick Fast. This is the CA Thick. It's a little bit thicker glue and it glues fast. And I know that's backwards, but it's Stick Fast. And it is fast, but it's great for doing little things like little stars and hearts and whatever, but it's good for the large things too. I put it on my mailbox number that had fallen off, taped it, and in a matter of minutes it was done. I could not budge it. Even if I wanted to take it off, I'd have to get a knife or something and pry it off. So we're going to go with the E6000. This is a new one. I just opened it. Let me see if it's going to come out here. Oops, yes, almost in my face. So I'm going to bring you down so you can see. And you see that we didn't paint the center because I knew that this was going to go on it. And we know what the top is up here. We've got the jute up here for our top. So I'm going to get the E6000. I'm going to put some on the flower itself. Okay, I'm not liking it with that tip on it. Let's see if we can. I have not bought these with the little tip on them before. Ooh, okay, that's coming out a little more than what we wanted to, but I'm just going around the circle with it here. And then I need to put the lid on because it just kind of keeps oozing. All right, so I've got the lid on that. I'm going to lay it right on over there because I don't want it coming off on everything. Okay, so before I place it, I want to make sure that I've got it even. And that looks pretty even to me. So we're going to mash it down. And when you mash it down, be careful because it might move. And we're just going to hold it for a minute. And then I'll let it dry overnight before I hang it. So I'm going to do this all the way around. And if I weren't doing this live, I might even sit something heavy on it overnight. But I want to go ahead and seal it just to show you what it looks like. So I would probably put something on it heavy for a little while to really set it. and then I would do this after it was sealed, but I didn't seal it first because I wanted you to see me sealing it. Okay, especially if your wood's a little bowed, I would set something heavy on it. Okay, so you want to make sure that the piece is clean. And now we're going to get our Mod Podge. Now our word, I've already Mod Podged it because I wanted it to be dry. I get my bristles wet using my good old trusty 1.5 inch flat that I get at Walmart. And I'm just going to dip right in. I'm going to start with the top petal. I'll start with the petals first. And I'm just going to, I don't want it to be really clumpy up around that circle, so I'm just being careful when I get up around the circle. We can smooth it out. And it doesn't take a lot. After it dries, if you think you need a double seal on it, I mean, you can certainly put more on it. See how milky it is? I mean, it's white right now, but it will dry completely clear. And after we do the petals, then you'll want to go around and do your edges. The edge of your petals, or whatever piece you're painting. If you know that it's going to go outside and is really going to be in the weather, I suggest that you, after it completely dries, that you seal the back as well. The first time I used this, it scared me to death. Oh no, I've just completely ruined my piece. Because it was just this milk white all over it. Now I am smoothing out that's gotten, let's go ahead and do the edges because it's getting on it anyway. So we'll just go around as we're doing each petal and do that edge. And then we'll add some more for it. Now the gloss is pretty when you put the Mod Podge gloss on, but for some reason it has a hard time. It just doesn't dry completely. It kind of stays tacky. When I was a little girl, I made some Christmas gifts. I was just about 12. Made some Christmas gifts for my aunts, and I used the Mod Podge, and it was the shiny, the gloss, and I mean for years it was just tacky to the touch. And you want to be sure and smooth that out when you do that edge there. Once you put this on it, and it dries really well, it makes it so easy to clean. If you're needing to wipe it off, it's not going to wipe your paint off. Now you don't want to scrub it like with a scrubber you'd scrub your dishes with or something, but you can take a damp cloth and wipe it off good. And it's getting on my surface here that I'm using, but it just wipes up so well. And when I'm done to wash my brush, I just wash it in hot water and just do it like I would paint. And it comes out really well. Just gives it such a nice finish and protection. Sometimes you get little clumps in it from where it's gotten on the side. Just kind of scrape those out. I'm going to let that dry just a little bit while we're doing the center, and then we'll come back and do the edges. This one would be really pretty on that jute to have a bow or somewhere on it to have a really pretty bow. Okay, this is what it's going to look like. Finished. Of course, that's backwards for you, so it'll be painted and it'll say welcome like that, but only in the teal. And we'll glue it down. I may use the stick fast for that and see how well it does. Okay, so let's cover, and you'll be able to see how milky it is really on this black. Ooh, it just looks like you poured Elmer's glue on it. Now those dots, you know, when we did the dots last night, they're raised. So I'm going back and forth just to make sure I get those covered well down around the base of them. It dries, I would say probably an hour maybe. You can tell the petals are already turning clear, but before I would set something heavy on it, I would give it an hour or two at least. You can tell when you touch it if it's tacky still. I could sit and do this all day long. Now when you go off, you want to go off this way so you're not getting clumps of it on that edge, around the edge, just like when we're painting. You want to feather out. I'm not coming back and touching the edge. Now I'm going back and forth, but I'm not with the edge. Just kind of smoothing it out. A little more here. I retired in December. Whoops, I got a big old glob there. And you know, I was really sick with COVID and pneumonia for over a month, and then my mom got really, really ill. So I haven't gotten to really use my daytime to work on the business and to paint, and I've been really enjoying it this week. Now you can see your brush strokes, but for the most part that's going to go away once it dries. Let's smooth out around those edges. Even if you get it a little clumpy somewhere, as long as it's not super, super thick, it'll dry clear and you won't be able to tell it. So I'm just going to stick my brush back into my water, let it soak a minute, and then when I get ready to take it in there to the bathroom and wash it out, it'll come out so clean. You might have to wipe it off of the metal part, or if you got it on the handle. Some of these are already drying on the petals, and it looks like, I think, oh, did I do that one? It's hard to tell because this one doesn't dry with a, you know, with a shine to it. The matte does not. If you want a shine to it, I suggest the spray. Get you a gloss spray, water-based. Go to my website and look at the Tippett Tuesdays. I think it's in there. If not, I will get it linked in there. But you can get it at, I believe Home Depot sells it. Some Walmarts do. It's just kind of hard to find it. Not all of them carry it. And so I've had some trouble sometimes finding it. Okay, I see a couple places that it's really, really drippy. So I'm going to kind of smooth it out just a little bit. Sometimes with this ring light, it's hard to see what you're doing. Okay, let me see if I've got a bow. Let's see what it would look like with a bow on it. I don't know if I have any made up those colors or not. Let's see. Well, you could put just about any color you wanted to with it. If you wanted it fall, you could do fall colors. Here's one that's got almost all of them in it. That would be pretty. I like that orange there. You could even put it on one of the petals. If I were keeping it, I would attach the bow to the jute. So there's one. You could even go with a neutral color. Here's some with the a little bit darker colors in them, that dark green. And I don't really care for that one because I think this green clashes with the turquoise that we used. I don't know if I have a turquoise, but this one doesn't look like, I mean, it doesn't match it with that, but this turquoise color goes pretty with it. But something made up that would match with that teal in it. The reason I have so many bows made up, when I go to paint parties, if it's something that we could use a bow on, I will make up my bows ahead of time and then put them out on a table for anyone that wants to purchase the bows. If they want a bow with theirs, they can purchase a bow to go with it. So there you have it on that. And what do we do with our word here? I'm not going to set this down on it because it's still wet, but you can get the general idea. So we'll put it across there. Once it is completely dry, I'll post a picture of it completely finished. Now you could put hello, you could put family, you could even hand letter on the circle if you wanted to, anything that you wanted to, you know. There's just really no end to what you could put on it, but I hope those tips were helpful. If you got in late, go back to the beginning. Hi Rhonda. Go back to the beginning of the video and see what we did with the stapler, and that will help you, and some information on the big event that's coming up. We're working on a form right now to get out for you so that you can get signed up, because I have a feeling the seats will go really fast, and it'll be first come, first serve, but we are going to have such a fun day on that day. So mark your calendars for August the 28th, and I will give you more detail just as soon as I get it. I'm waiting on 2 different managers right now to get back with me on which facility I want to rent. One of them, I can only have 30 people. The other one, I'm not going to be limited on how many I can have. Well, I mean, there is a limit, but it's not going to exceed what I would do anyway. But it's much, much more expensive. But I'm willing to do that if I can get us together. So, August the 28th, mark your calendars, and I will notify you as soon as I have some more information. Thanks, guys. I hope this was helpful. Have a great day.